Watch this. No way!
Hello and welcome back to the Cookie Jar Golf Podcast. I am Tom Mills and today I'm joined by Sam Williams.
Hello.
And today we have an obscenely exciting episode for you because we are able to announce the owners of Cleeve Hill. We are joined by Nick Hovey and Sam Foyle of the Cotswold Hub Company. Hello guys, congratulations on your bid.
We have some canned applause for this moment, Tom. Is this
we
right?
were waiting for some applause.
All that sort of stuff. On behalf of Cookie Jar, massive congratulations, guys. I mean, obviously, Nick, we spoke last night. It was like getting a phone call with Kaiser Soze revealing himself. I was like, oh my God, after, lots of people want to know what's going to happen with Cleeve Hill, and getting that news through last night was, it was mega exciting. So first and foremost, how are you both feeling about it?
Well, actually, the build-up of us knowing for a little while and not being able to tell anyone is pretty tough. Like, it's because it's the sort of news you want to tell everybody. That's how I felt. So telling you last night was as exciting for me as it was for you hearing about it, I'm sure. So yeah, it's been great. It's been good.
It's been a long build up, right from the very outset when we started looking at the project and will we, won't we get it, and the hard work. I mean, we've put some seriously hard work into it over the last few months. But to actually, when we got that call from the council and the trust that we've been selected as the preferred bidder, we were both we're both a bit emotional actually, which is not normally like us. It was a big moment. Yeah, we've just been chuffed.
Before we dive into sort of the more specifics of it, why don't you take this opportunity to introduce yourselves and what you're about and your background and what your sort of connection to Cleeve Hill is.
Shall I go first?
Yeah, go for it.
We should do. I should start directing these questions because they're going to make it hard with two guests. So yeah, Nick, let's start with you first. Yeah,
so I'm a local guy. I grew up in Gloucestershire. I went to school in Cheltenham. I still live in Gloucestershire in Northleach, just outside. So, and play my golf a lot in Gloucestershire. I know a lot of the courses and have played Cleeve for 30 years. So I don't profess to know it, as well as many, but I know it fairly well, and I've always loved it. It's one of the courses that I've always gravitated towards. And even now, I kind of run a golf company now, and it's the kind of course I want to show people when they come to Gloucestershire. And it's one of the. It is real. It's a bit of an overused term, but it is a hidden gem. So to have that on our doorstep, and obviously have this story going on, was something that I wanted to be involved in.
And Sam, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm from Cheltenham originally, and all my family are from there. I'm not living actually in Cheltenham at the moment, but I'm close to it. Went to school there and got a huge amount of friends there too. And Nick and I have known each other since we were kids, and we've been playing golf there since, like Nick says, 30 years. And regularly with our group of friends, when we have our get-togethers, a lot of those have been up on the hill, and we've had some of our best moments and funniest laughs playing golf there. So it's always been a really, really special place for us, and we love taking people there that haven't come to the area. So that's really our connection.
We had a tradition actually where every Christmas Eve we would play Cleeve Hill. So
that's brutal, isn't it? I'm not in the business of I'm not in the business of talking Cleeve Hill down, but I do know in the winter months you're pretty exposed up there. So I'm guessing that's like 3 or 4 layers. And
yeah, it was. I mean, at times it was. Some winter golf rounds are as good as you can get, but sometimes it was fairly brutal. So standing on the 18th, kind of looking down towards the clubhouse. I think all I could think about was kind of a Guinness and a bit of warm fire, and you're just kind of dying to get in. But we had that tradition, and then we always went into Cheltenham for a beer, and it just became part of our life. So yeah, it is special.
I remember sometimes there was one time we played, we had all weather, we had hail, we had rain, we had snow, the wind absolutely blowing, we had sunshine, all in one round. and then finished with a number of pints of Guinness in the clubhouse to just finish it off, which was nice.
So, Sam, how did you get to hear about the trouble that Cleeve Hill was getting into, and why? What was your interest in getting involved in purchasing the place in the first place?
Well, yeah, Nick and I went up there to play golf together, and we heard from the pro and the groups up there about what was happening, and we then played our round, which we were playing with friends, and the whole way round, Nick and I were just talking to each other about, we can't believe that Cleeve Hill is going to close. This just can't be possible. This is, we love it here. And it just started developing. And I think by the 9th, 10th hole, we were talking about, is this something that we should look at getting into? Nick with his golf business and my strength in the property side, it just started developing. And it was just a dream idea to begin with. And then over time, it developed into, we've got to do this. And a lot of it was about, we just had to save it, wasn't it, Nick? That was the sort of the first part of it. And then it developed from there, didn't it?
Yeah, I think there was, obviously being in the industry, I saw quite a bit of press about it, and obviously also being local as well. And there were certain points where, I thought there was a huge surge in kind of affection for the course. And obviously I saw the reports that was done and felt like it was a little bit skewed towards just the golf club and didn't see the bigger picture of what's possible at Cleeve, which is fair enough from the reports perspective, because it was just reporting on the golf club. But obviously as a whole project, there's a lot more there. And then seeing a lot of the, the video from Cookie Jar actually was a massive part of it for me.
I was going to say, were there any YouTube films out there that sort of twisted your arm or anything?
Yeah, well, but I think, it really hit the nail on the head, and the passion that you guys showed on the hill was testament to what you do, but also how a lot of people felt about it, and I think you just nailed it. So we kind of felt like that really inspired us, along with everything else, to kind of push on and turn what we thought was, a bit of a punt originally to actually something really serious. And here we are today.
And actually, on that Cookie Jar video, and there were times when it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and we were working through the tender documents and thinking, can we do this? We actually watched your video to get ourselves really up for it again. It's like a motivating tool.
That's all you want to hear.
Like Rocky Balboa running up the steps in Philadelphia, jumping up and down with his arms in the air.
We owe you boys a beer, definitely, at some stage. We'll cover you for a round of golf at Cleeve with us.
The irony is that we were walking around Cleeve Hill, and we were saying to ourselves, yeah, we can do this. We could get involved here. We could do this. And then we sat down and go, nah, neither of us have got a clue what we're doing. There's no way we can do this.
We're just scratching our heads. I mean, it was so funny when we were doing it.
So
I've told this story. I've told this story before, but when we were doing it, Tom's sort of obviously the videographer in the group. I'm just there as the sort of show pony with a sort of a nasty quick swing. And Tom's sort of there every 5 minutes saying, I've got to get the drone up. I was like, just keep it in the bag a bit longer, because we're running around on a Wednesday night here. We've got 3 hours. We're sort of chasing the sun, really. And, we kind of, I think one of the best things about Cleeve as a golf course is that the holes seem to gradually improve. So you kind of hit that crescendo around 16 or 17. And that's, it's very difficult to route a golf course in the way that it achieves there. So it steadily improves. You go through the front nine, it's getting better and better. You start playing things like 11, 12. Okay, this is getting serious. 13, it's like, wow, we're now starting.
That's the one. That's my
and then
one,
you
13.
play across the kind of one of the most stunning views you can play in golf, and you hit with the best back-to-back par threes. And all through the front nine, I've got Tom saying, I'm just going to get the drone up. I'm like, will you just keep the battery on it? I know you need it from about 13 in. Like, it's going to get better. It's just a bit of a funny story, but I think tells the picture of the course really in some respects. And I suppose it would be remiss to have you both on the pod and not ask you about kind of the holes themselves, and what are because there's so many iconic parts of the course. What do you see as kind of your favorite bits when you go and play it?
If I went first, I would be saying the 13th hole for me has always been really, really special. And when we play that, myself, Nick, and a very old friend of ours that we used to play with, it was that view down to the iron fort, and even if we
Yeah.
messed our shot up, we'd sometimes place one down at the top because you've got the view over all of Cheltenham. You just can't mess that shot up playing down into the iron fort, which we never seem to get in. It always sprays around, and you can sometimes see the Severn Bridge in the distance. For me, that's always the moment, being up on there. And we've got little nicknames, haven't we, for some of the quarry pits that you have to go over and things like that we've had over the years as well.
Yeah, I don't. In 30 years, I don't think I've parred the 13th. Actually,
No, I haven't. It's my favourite course, and
I tell you what, 13th is one of those holes where I think it'd be the easiest hole in the world to par if you played it like a sensible human being. But if you go for it in 2 and try and go for the hero shot, you just get punished. It's so difficult if you don't hit the green there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, I'm a big fan of the 4th. I know it's early doors in the round, but it's just wind against. It is a real challenge, that hole. In coming back down, I do think the front 9 is strong as you get towards the kind of, 6-7 territory. 13th talks about the back-to-back par threes. We cannot have a conversation
without talking about those. In their own right, one of those is a standout golf hole on almost any golf course. You play them back to back, and you're like, it's unreal, absolutely unreal. Like you could go there and say, okay, can I have £12, please? Right, you're just playing 16 and 17 today, and you'd leave a really happy customer. I tell you,
sure.
Yeah, you're better the value than 18 somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, it's just 16, 7. Sorry,
15, 16.
Sorry, 15, 16. Sorry, 15, 16. My mistake.
Yeah, and then 17 is a cracking hole, and then 18 stood up on the tee. It's always going to get the driver out and give it a welly before you kind of go into the clubhouse. And we've had a lot of laughs up there. So there's a lot of memories.
And when the sun's setting, when you're normally coming back in on 18, we've had some great photos there just across. That's just such a nice end to it.
Well, you've got to get that woke teeing ground up high on 18.
Yeah.
Like you've got a little sort of like peak of land where there's obviously been a teeing ground, and I think the health and safety police have been involved there and said no, and obviously being the risk takers and living on the edge like Cookie Jar Golf always has and always will do, decide to hit balls off there, and it's a hell of a little teeing ground. You need to re-establish that.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely. I mean, without a doubt, that's coming back. I mean, it's not that much higher actually if you look at it on a level, but it feels so much higher, and kind of getting it down there. If you get it past the ditches, that's a decent drive from back there.
Looking at obviously with the benefit of having seen the press release, you guys have been done really well to fight off some really tough competition there to secure that. And I think it's testament to the fact that it's gone to you guys as a pair of kind of like, local guys who really understand the ethos of it up there. And I think, that for us was the biggest thing when we visited Cleeve, it was that, the community is kind of at the center of this. And what works well is the fact that you've got so many other kind of pursuits going on up there, whether it's hiking, cycling, horse riding, the fact that all kind of lives in harmony with the golf course, I think is absolutely fabulous. And I think Nick, when we were speaking, you kind of talked about the importance of kind of keeping that sort of as very much central to the ethos going forward, right?
It's absolutely key, because unless you're from the area, you don't know that. And that's where probably we have a bit of an advantage over the competition. So knowing that, when you're playing golf, you're crossing over, horse riders and cyclists and walkers around the course, it has to integrate. And it's so important that they kind of work side by side. So we were really keen to make sure that any proposal we made, being local, we wanted to ensure that our team were local and they understood, associated with the club, felt like it was being taken over by people who kind of cared about it and understood it.
I think with that as well, it was the balance of those different uses as well. I mean, golf is obviously a huge element of it, but those other uses of the walkers and the people walking their dogs and the cyclists, using facilities, especially when there are challenges with golf. So, when it's a whiteout and there's been snow up there, that we realise there's ways of capturing income up there that could make the business more sustainable and help on that golf side of it, rather than just fully reliant on the golf, that we could benefit from those other uses as well. That would also help the community, and we understood how that would sort of fit in with the whole hub.
Well, it's screaming out for it, isn't it? And my wife and I have kind of been fortunate enough to go up and do just a few walks and stuff when, during lockdown times. Why not? It's just a beautiful place to go and walk. And the clubhouse is screaming out for being a little bit more, I think, externally facing, a bit more welcoming to some spend from people. And, that was one of the things when the news broke about Cleeve Hill. I think the clubhouse refurbishment cost was really what underpinned the, for want of a better term, the fact that it didn't feel like a viable business in the long term. And I think that was why the lease was going to be severed, which obviously is no longer the case. Just in terms of plans around that clubhouse and that facility, what's the outlook on that for the next sort of year or two?
Yeah, well, it's, you're right. That's absolutely one of the key elements behind it. Is that, you're up on the course playing this most incredible, beautiful area and views and scenery. And then you come back to the clubhouse and it's very inward facing, and you could be anywhere really when you're in that clubhouse. So we realized that there was an opportunity to, utilize the views with a restaurant that we've been looking at putting up on the first floor space that can benefit from that. And the golfers can have a view looking back onto the 18th and the golf course itself, which is what you want in a modern golf facility, and it will encourage people to stay and spend and really enjoy their time there, rather than coming off the course and then either wanting to leave and go somewhere else to the Rising Sun or other places down the road, and actually staying and keeping the people there.
It's interesting. I think I was chatting to somebody through England Golf recently, and I think each member of a golf course equates to something around the region of £500 in additional secondary spend, which, if the clubhouse isn't up to scratch and people aren't hanging about to spend the money, then you're missing out on a huge amount of revenue there. And I know the clubhouse was something that was a concern. Is it going to be a complete redevelopment? What are your plans with the clubhouse?
So yeah, we the way that we've been looking at doing it is phasing a project. So continuity was another element that Nick and I realised was going to be really important for the members and the users of the common as well, that just going and doing some big development and knocking everything down just wasn't going to work. So we had to think about that sort of sensitivity. So, the way that we're looking at doing is phasing a project that, creates a new pro shop and cafe hub area. And then after that's been built, then looking at a new clubhouse facility, including a new restaurant and golf members area amongst that as well.
And just in terms of that, because there'll be a few curious people there, if, for existing members of Cleeve Hill, is there anything that will majorly change in the immediate term?
Well, the course is perfect, so that doesn't need to change. It needs a bit of TLC. I think that's all. That's the main thing we want to do, is just give it a bit of care and attention that it needs. But in terms of what the members will experience, I think is they can enjoy the course, but when they come back, I think they'll hopefully will be able to develop something they'll want to come back to and feel comfortable in. It's not going to be hugely over the top. We want it to be welcoming for all, and that's kind of really important to us. We don't want to make an exclusive golf club in the sense of it excludes anyone. It's actually the opposite. We want anyone to come in there. We want the members to feel like it's still a golf club, because that really is the heartbeat of any golf course. So they will be massively important to us. That we want them to have an area there. We want them to have decent showers, and because at the moment they're pretty ropey. So
I've heard they're a little on the sketchy side. Tom didn't go in when we were there last.
Yeah, it's a flip a coin as whether you actually get showered or not, or then just go home. So I think we just want to make that more comfortable, and I think the members, what the things we'll do won't affect the golf, which is the main thing. It won't affect the golf experience, but hopefully should enhance their enjoyment of the club.
But I think with that as well, the existing management team have lacked the ability to invest further. You know, they've tried their best with it, but they've lacked funds to be able to invest further in the course. So over a period of time, you know, each year they've had to look at spending money on keeping the clubhouse from falling down rather than be able to invest in better maintenance of the golf course. So just with some small tweaks in investment that Nick and I are planning at doing and putting in, from improving the greens and all those areas of it, just to move it back to the level it should have been at and was once upon a time.
You mentioned the course there. Is there any little giveaways you can give us in terms of what you're planning on doing to make that a little bit, because everyone knows that the architecture there is just incredible. So any sneak peeks you can tell us about what's going to be going on there?
Honestly, we're not looking at doing much on the course at all. It really, as you know, for us playing it for so many years, it's great as it is. You know, what we don't want it to be is you know, overly manicured and try to be some championship course that it's not. You know, Cleeve Hill is you know, it's like kind of other local clubs in the area like Painswick and Minchinhampton, and you know, we were talking about that Sam the last night. I think it has its place. So, but there are certain things like, you know, as good golfers, we like good greens. You know, we want it to roll true. We want, you know, a flat lie on the tee box. So maybe there's a little bit of work we can do there. So there's a few things I think we can just make, you know, that the golf element slightly better. Maybe some of the bunkering is a little bit, you know, we could do something with that as well. But the actual course layout, as it is, great.
I think you're in a unique position both, because most golf clubs will give their right arm to have the asset you've got, and you know, that's kind of, you know, obviously talking about some of the practical stuff that a lot of people will be keen to hear, which has been, you know, great to cover. I've got to ask, like, you've got a piece of history here with, you know, obviously old Tom kind of laid out that course originally. You know, you've had people like David Brown, a previous Open winner who used to be the keeper of the greens, and you know, he's a fascinating character. Mackenzie's been involved in some of the future design work before going on to massive things. You're almost like holding a bit of a legacy there. How does that feel? I mean, that must be pretty energizing, right?
Yeah, no pressure. I mean, follow those guys at your peril, I think. But yeah, no, look, I think that's what I've seen from. I think we just need to market that better. You know, that's what Cleeve needs. It just needs to let people know around the UK about its history, and not be ashamed, not be, you know, to shout that out and say, look, you know, old Tom Morris and Mackenzie, basically two of the most prominent golfing figures of all time. That should be right front and center on the website. You know, that should be making people come to the course to experience how because the course hasn't changed much since they were involved. So experience how they played golf. Yeah, that for me, it's about marketing and making sure people are aware of them being involved. How we follow them to do anything on the course, you know, I don't think you can do that really. You just need to make sure people are aware.
What was your phrase, Nick? Was it the hidden gem in British golf? I think you were saying for it, and I think the little phrase that we saw someone say on one of the Facebook things on Cleeve Hill was St Andrews of the South.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think those, you know, that people are passionate about the place.
I think when you look at a lot of courses around the British Isles, and you know, I mean, I'm not a spokesman for the American Golf Traveller, but I'll have a go. And a lot of these guys come over to Scotland, and they'll travel to the amazing time at Brora, and Brora kind of has similar essence, I would say, in terms of what Cleeve Hill offers. Cleeve Hill's like an hour away from Birmingham, and it's incredible to think you've got this stuff on your doorstep that's just. It's so special. It's so unique. It's an experience. And I think that's what today's golfers very much looking for. You've now formed this sort of Cotswold Hub company, which, you know, help me understand what that's about. Because there's an ethos, there's a sort of bit of a mission statement there. Am I correct?
Well, I can from the golf side of things, having a golf business in the Cotswolds, and now obviously, you know, being part of Cleeve Hill, I think it would be good to put Cotswolds golf on the map a little bit, and that's partly why we've named it Cotswold Hub. This is from a golf perspective from my side, And, like I said before, the courses that are in the Cotswolds, there's a huge amount of golfers around the world that would, like you said, Sam, they would love to experience them. They just do not have those type of courses in their country at all. So they will come over and see those courses and want to play them. And I think we need to. It's a balance, though. We want to bring those guys over to play, but we don't want to lose the kind of membership and that side of things as well. So we want to balance that out. But I think Cotswolds as a golfing destination has got a lot to offer, and I think we want to try and help that, put it on the map.
And I think that hub element of it is just bringing those other uses into play, that the uses are there already, but there's just no facility or proper area that they've got to be able to use. So I think bringing that into it as well just sort of finishes the circle of the whole thing, really. It's
incredible when you think that, there's a lot of punters around the UK who would quite happily spend £150 to go and play the 2010 at Celtic Manor. I know it's a bit of a distance away, but you take that as an example. You can do a trip around the Cotswolds and you can play Cleeve Hill, Painswick and Minchinhampton Old, and you can do them all for less than £100, and you've got Cheltenham on your doorstep. You can have an amazing time. You've got incredible views, and what is not to like about that? And you just think, well, you guys are, you're sat in a fantastic position now where, there's no doubt a lot of hard work ahead, but it's exciting times, and just super psyched for you.
Yeah, put that course in a different location. Perhaps it would be, you'd gain a lot more green fees, but and that's the benefit we've got. We can charge relatively low amounts, and for £100 you can have 3 amazing rounds of golf in an amazing area of the country. So yeah, we should be shouting about that, getting people down.
One of the things that surprised us when we went down and did our trip, when we first recorded our film down there, was just the cost of the green fee. I think when we got there, and I think we stumped up £12, and we went outside and played this course, and you get up there and you think, how on earth have I just paid £12 for this? I just feel like I've robbed somebody. Clearly, paying that sort of money, Cleeve Hill is worth more than that when you go there as a visitor. How difficult is it to get the marketing right, so people know they're going to come there and they're willing to spend a bit more than £12, because it's worth a lot more than £12 to play it?
No, I totally agree. I think what we want to do is try and bring visitors and get them still have value for money, but ultimately, we can't devalue the product that is up there, and we need to help us run the club and make it profitable and ensure that it's there for another 120 years. We want to, we need to put that green fee probably at a higher point that ensures we can do that. But, compared to some of the courses we all play around the country, even if you had a tennis price, it would still be an incredible price.
It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, you'd go somewhere and there is some fairly, I'm not going to name anywhere, but some fairly average tracks, and you can play them and drop 35 quid and be like, okay, yeah, it was okay. Wouldn't go back there, but you wouldn't feel aggrieved if you had a bad round for 30 quid. And you have the best round of your life for £12 up at Cleeve Hill.
Yeah. I mean, there's 9 holes in the area that are more expensive, So
but there's a balance, though, isn't there? I mean, what we've looked at is there's a balance for certainly people coming to the area and looking at that sort of the green fee price, but for the local community as well, we really want to be encouraging them to come up, not putting off by raising prices too high. So, especially on the junior side of things, golf has always been a much older group and with members, etc. But we really want to encourage the next generation of golfers, the juniors, to come up there and experience it, like Nick and I did when we were kids. We want both of our kids. We've both got children that would love to come up and play there. We want to be encouraging those sorts of groupings, and overpricing it, we just don't want to push that away. But certainly looking at people coming from outside that Cotswold area, people from internationally or other areas, absolutely, I think that's something that we've got to look at.
And in terms of the current membership that you've got there, are you fairly happy with the membership numbers? Are you where you need to be, or do you are looking at trying to attract a few more members into the club?
Yeah, I think we're to have a solid membership is no bad thing. I think what we don't want to do with this project is have any preconceptions before we actually get in and chat to everyone. We want to chat to the membership, understand what they want as much as what we feel is right, and just gauge the opinion on things. And we don't want to rush into anything and make any rash decisions. So I think having those conversations is key to understanding those types of answers to those types of questions. But yeah, I definitely think I know the membership can be grown. It has been a lot bigger. And there's a lot of members that have gone to other local courses that hopefully will look at this and want to come back.
I think it's really good, and it's pretty refreshing as well to hear, because it's like you say, you want to get your feet under the table, you want to be comfortable, understand the people, and spend some time bedding in before making big changes. And also, Sam, I think you're absolutely spot on in terms of balancing act around Cleeve Hill. One of the biggest things it offers is that massive amount of accessibility, not just from a financial point of view, but I was saying to Nick yesterday, my wife doesn't play golf. If she played golf tomorrow, we could go to Cleeve. She probably wouldn't. She's not going to shoot 65 gross, but she's going to have a good time because she's going to find the ball. She's going to be able to hit it again. And that's exactly what it should be encouraged throughout all parts of the game, whether it's, people in their later life or juniors or people who are just picking it up at some point along the way. And therefore, it's important to also balance the cost side of that. So I think it's great. What would you advise people to do? Because I know that, we're going to hopefully come out of this lockdown that we're in the not too distant future. People will be and play golf, no doubt. What do they do in terms of making booking arrangements? Does any of that change?
Well, all of that, to be honest, is so early days for us. We're trying to, obviously this is we'll get the keys to the Cleeve on 1st of April. Before then, what I would probably advise is to come through Mashi, because obviously Mashi, my company, is kind of involved in this as a partner, and we want to generate more business for the club from kind of society bookings and grabbing groups of people down to play the club, ladies and gents, around the country. So that's probably the first step, is probably visit Mashi and contact us through the website there. Because I don't know if the current ownership are actually managing the existing website. So I wouldn't want those bookings to get lost. But once we're up in the course, then we'll get things up and running properly and hopefully get a full diary for the summer, because hopefully it'll be very busy.
I don't think.
And the other thing that we need to, which we haven't been able to do at this stage due to the confidentiality and just both the trust and the council. They wanted to announce things formally, is we haven't been able to engage with the member groups. So that's right at the top of our list, that we both want to speak to them, talk to them, see what they want, to understand where they think there could be improvements, how we can help them on it. We very much want to be a part of that. It's a huge element of it. It is the club. And, that's one of the reasons we've got involved. We're local and we love that. We love the vibe up there. We love the experience. And so that's a really important element to it as well.
But chaps, we're conscious on the eve of your big announcement that we're taking up a lot of your time, and we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for coming on and chatting to us, and also congratulate you on everything you've achieved, and we wish you all the success in the world in making something of Cleeve Hill, and I'm sure that you'll do a fantastic job, and we're really, really keen and keep an interested eye on how you boys achieve, and hopefully we can get down there and tee it up with you someday.
We'd love to. We'd love to have you down there. Be fantastic.
So, Sam, Mick, thank you very much for coming on, and good luck with the future. Bye-bye.
Watch this.